automatic drawing. If you haven't heard of this, something that a lot of artists do, where you just start making a line and you just don't even think about it. You just let the line take you where it wants to go. A lot of artists, Jack Kirby, Jean Giraud, Mobius, a lot of these guys would do drawings like this, where they just set out a big page and kind of like, it's almost a meditation. You're gonna just let your mind go blank and just start making shapes. Where when you meditate, one way to meditate is to, focus on your breathing, empty your thoughts. There's a lot of different ways to do it. And this is kind of the same here, because all of the artists that I've seen tend to do this just slightly different. Either they use a different type of tool, or they have like a different kind of ritual when they do this. For me, I just like to jump in, and it's nice to do it on a big piece of paper because it feels good to fill up a piece of paper, even if it's just, kind of like a vomit out of your mind of just shapes and, abstract forms. It just feels good to play with art supplies. So, you get like a big marker that you like to use. You can really use anything. Big pencil. I'm using a brush pen here. Anything you like feels good to use. Those Pilot Parallel pens are really fun for doing these kinds of drawings. Pastels. People even do them with paint. Because it's really just about not making anything. I don't even know what this is. Not making anything in particular. Just letting your mind idle. Letting your creative mind kind of just putter. And this is a really good way to kind of get yourself warmed up for drawing, because sometimes I'll sit down and be like, oh, I'm going to do warm up. Like, what am I going to do for my warm up? And it's like deciding what I'm going to do for the warm up is just as much of a pain in the butt as deciding on anything else to draw. So maybe I'll just do nothing for my warm up. I'll just make shapes. I'll just let the pen decide. And I like this brush pen because you can make really quick, strokes without a lot of control. And it looks kind of cool. And it's like, oh, I'll build off of that. That's kind of like a neat shape there. You can slow down and do a few more little specific shapes if you're like, ooh, that needs like a cool little curve here, kind of like balance it out. But for me personally, when I do automatic drawings like this, I like to kind of unfocus my eyes, if that makes sense. Kind of let my vision blur and just, not really look too closely at the line. Like sometimes I'll be looking right here and drawing over here, kind of just like in my peripheral vision. And it really, it's kind of difficult at first because your brain wants to look where you're drawing. But if you can kind of practice that, as you would practice, quieting your mind for meditation, you can kind of start to create some like really interesting subconscious shapes that you'll discover. So I definitely recommend trying this. I'm going to jump onto the next page in just a moment here. My automatic drawings tend to look very fleshy. Or like, smoke, kind of organic shapes. And yours may not be the same. Yours may look, very mechanical or almost like microbial. I've seen a lot of different styles, and there's no right or wrong way to do this. It's really more about like the format, just moving quick, not picturing anything in particular, not trying to make anything particular. Just let your brain idle. So the next page, I'm going to go ahead and jump in with a pencil. So this one's a big pen, this one's a big pencil. Dixon Carpenter pencil. So I'm going to jump in with this. And with this one's a little bit more angular. So I want to make some more like kind of not as organic shapes. something more crystalline. I don't know. But this becomes a lot easier if you use a tool that makes a large or a broad line, or something with multiple angles that can give you multiple different strokes. You know, because with this pencil, I can draw these really straight jagged lines with the flat end, or I can come in and start making some really kind of big, kind of angular shading shapes, shadow shapes, and stuff with this. And this becomes a lot more abstract because now I have the freedom to not only explore with line, but also a lot more with tone as well. So it's really up to you. I've seen people use just a regular pencil and they sharpen the lead out so it's super long, and they hold it like sideways and kind of do these big like sweeping strokes. It's just absolutely nothing. I'm not thinking about anything here. I'm just getting that pencil, digging it into the paper, you know, because this is kind of like a stretch, you know. It's an exercise where, you know, you're doing a commission or an illustration, concept work or whatever. Like, your work is going to be a lot more clean. You don't have the opportunity to really dig into the materials and, you know, maybe break a pencil or really just kind of scribble if what you want to do is scribble, because this shit feels good. And, you know, doing formal professional portfolio art all the time gets a little bit exhausting. And this is like, you know, when you're a kid and you just spread out and just start making marks on the paper. You're not thinking about anything. You have no conception of what it should be. You're just enjoying the process. And it's really easy to lose sight of that. It's really easy to forget about how much fun it is. So I've gotten this big sketchbook, not only because I want to be able to spread out more in my sketchbook and do some bigger, crazier, potentially more messy things, but also, you know, to do these big automatic drawings. I've been doing, you know, nice, finished, clean work so much, and it just feels good to kind of just make a dang mess. I'm just liking making these jagged shapes fold in on each other, extend each other. You know, there's a structure here, but I'm not worried about what that structure is. I'm just kind of looking at the balance of it. You know, unfocus my eyes. And a good thing to keep in mind when doing this is to try to keep moving. You know, and if you're not liking that area, just jump over here. You know, if you're like, what do I do? Just move. Don't even think about it. You know, as soon as you start feeling some sort of control, you know, you want to have more control, and you're feeling out of control, and you're like, I don't know what I'm doing with this. This is terrible. As soon as you start to feel that, just snap somewhere else, and like even flip the page if you need to. Try to quiet that thought. You know, because when you meditate, it's the same thing. As soon as your thoughts start spiraling, you need to like snap back to like, okay, like quiet my mind. And it's the same thing here. And it works a little bit different for everybody. Like I always say, it's different for everyone. Nobody's the same. So you kind of have to just listen to yourself, listen to your mind and your heart and your body, and give it what it needs. You're like, man, I just love playing with paint. I want to spread out with some paint. Then do that. Give your creative brain what it wants. You know what I mean? Just do it. Plus, like, there's nothing quite as satisfying as using up your art supplies, you know? Taking a pen and using it until the ink runs out. Taking a pencil and using it until you've sharpened it down to just a tiny nub. Something really satisfying about that. And you'll get there a lot faster if you just spread out and have some fun. So I highly recommend this. Highly recommend this. There's also a lot of great material out there about automatic drawing. Just get on the internet and you know, look for yourself. You can learn quite a bit, and you know, have some fun. So thanks for watching. Yeah, you're cool. See ya.